All right, welcome to Scholar Education Summer Series. I'm Alyssa, and I'm so glad that you're here for our first session. We'll be meeting every Wednesday at noon through August 13th, so we hope that this is just the beginning of your AI journey with us. Today's topic is how to use an AI assistant for teachers and students. So let's go ahead and dive in. Nicole Roberts and I will be hosting each of these summer sessions. Here's a quick look at what we're going to be going over for this session, where we'll talk about what makes Scholar unique. We'll meet our AI Bernedoodles and go into depth with PAWfessor Bruce, our teacher assistant, as well as BaxterBot, our student tutor, and then we'll wrap up with any Q&A. Let me give you a quick overview of Scholar. So Scholar Education is an AI-powered platform for teachers and students. Both sides get their own customized AI assistant, PAWfessor Bruce for the teachers and BaxterBot for students. Our goal is to reduce teacher burnout while increasing student independence and engagement. And since Scholar is built by educators for educators, we hope that it will save everyone some time and sanity. You may have noticed that our logo features two Bernedoodles, so meet the real life Bruce and Baxter. They are one of our co-founders' dogs who inspired our AI assistants. Professor Bruce supports the teachers, helping with lesson planning, grading, analyzing student data, and even drafting emails, newsletters, or any other type of communications. BaxterBot supports students as a personalized tutor, helping them practice skills, access their accommodations, and stay focused. A little intro for Professor Bruce. He is the teacher's personal chatbot, but not only that, he's analyzing student data, helping you plan lessons, and anything that you can think of, Professor Bruce is there to assist with. So in general, how can AI help teachers? Whether you're using our platform or another, AI can help you save time on planning and feedback, analyze student data faster, personalize instructions and accommodations, simplify administrative tasks like emails and classroom updates, and even role play tough classroom scenarios for a little bit of professional development. Just remember that if you're using an open AI tool like a ChatGPT or Gemini, avoid putting in any student data. Those aren't FERPA compliant. Scholar is. Scholar also just recently earned a 95% privacy rating from Common Sense Privacy, which makes it one of the most secure AI platforms in K-12. What makes Professor Bruce different than the open AI? So Professor Bruce, he is your partner, can help with all parts of teaching, planning, and differentiating lessons aligned to your standards, tracking IEP and 504 accommodations, analyzing performance trends, generating rubrics, feedback, parent emails, and handle those repetitive administrative tasks like emails, newsletters, updates. And unlike a generic AI tool, Professor Bruce already knows your subject, your grade level, and your teaching goals thanks to our integration with Clever, ClassLink, or any major SIS platform. Scholar never stores or shares the personal identifying information, so it does keep that student data safe and secure, which is one of the many reasons it's built for teachers, so you don't have to worry about that. Here's a couple classroom wins that we had from our first year of our pilot that just finished up. 94% of teachers said that Scholar helped them create more engaging lessons. 88% said it guided their next steps in instructions, and 94% said it saved them time. And we're just getting started. We are rolling out new features based off of the educator feedback. So we're excited to have some new updates coming out this summer. You can also see a couple of our pilot teacher quotes that it's been game-changing in saving time and how Scholar Education has given students independence. That second quote, in fact, comes from a teacher who works at an ESE center school. So she's working with her secondary students on independence. So that's a big deal, especially with that population. Here's a quick snapshot of what AI can do to save teachers time in grading and analyzing. So, Professor Bruce is not only generating a draft of feedback for students, which saves tons of time, he also is looking at trends to give teachers a glimpse at areas that still need to be addressed and recommendations for that. So when you don't necessarily have time to read through maybe 150 short responses or essays, Professor Bruce is checking in. What are some things that could be addressed for tomorrow before you're done? Finish all of that grading. Now, our BaxterBot is our student tutor. So he not only is there to answer student questions, but he also provides accommodations and he is monitoring all that classroom interaction with him. In general, AI has the power to transform student support, not just academically, but in ways that build confidence and independence. With our first year of our pilot, we've seen how AI chatbots like BaxterBot can provide instant homework help and tutoring, practice and review. Since AI adapts to each student's skill level, it ensures that students are challenged but not overwhelmed. It also supports reading and writing, helping students with grammar, summarizing, and even making complex texts easier to understand. And it really helps to give students that voice and choice that they can explore topics in unique ways through AI generated stories, role play, or simulations. Some students may need specific examples to help them better understand. One student might want an example on knitting, and another student wants an example on baseball, and the third one wants one on D&D. And as a teacher, it's basically impossible to come up with all of those on the top of your head, and AI can help them do that so it becomes more relevant to the student's real life. And with projects, AI chatbots like BaxterBot can help students brainstorm and research and just stay organized. And this one is the one that might be a little more controversial. It can help students critically think because we need to be teaching students to question, verify, and reflect on what AI is giving them. So we're building that digital literacy and discernment so that students can go off into the real world and know how to use this tool safely and effectively. What specifically makes BaxterBot different? What sets him apart is our personalized student profiles. So every student has a unique profile BaxterBot uses to adjust how it communicates and supports that learner. It takes into account reading levels, so students receive explanation in language that's appropriate and accessible, which means they can engage without frustration. It recognizes the native language of each student and it can respond in both English and the home language, supporting that comprehension while reinforcing those English skills. And BaxterBot gives students access to their own 504 and IEP, their accommodations toolbox. So students can view their accommodations at any time, and the system tracks which accommodations are used during each lesson. This helps learners to advocate for themselves, and it gives teachers and SPED teams the data they need for progress tracking and meetings. And BaxterBot is more than just a chatbot. He's a tutor, a coach, a supporter built for real classroom needs in conjunction with real teachers. So students love him because he speaks their language literally with the kid-friendly language, reading levels, and supporting speech to text and text to speech. That's huge for ELLs or students struggling with reading and writing skills. He encourages self-paced learning and independence by keeping their accommodations front and center. He's available 24/7, whether students are in class or working at home. And then the teacher side, there's so much trust built in. BaxterBot keeps the kids on topic, no distractions or random tangent. He's logging every question, so teachers can always review the chat history. His responses are tied to classroom content and can be customized based on the lesson, the topic, specific chapter. And if a student types something that's concerning, you'll be given an instant notification. Best of all, accommodations are automatically tracked when students use them, the ones that are built into our system, taking the work off the plate of the teachers and the IEP teams, making that prep just so much easier. All right, we're going to go and do a live walkthrough so you can see what it looks like from both the student and teacher side and how they can use an AI to support their learning. So here we have our login screen. I'm going to start by logging in as a student. So when I log into the platform, you'll see I get a little message from BaxterBot just letting him know or letting the students know that he's here. A little bit about the platform so you understand what you're looking at. The student is bilingual and has an IEP or 504, so she has accommodations built in. One of the accommodations built in is a keywords. So there is this word list at the top, and then we have 3 activities in today's lesson: a bell word question, a group activity, and then an exit ticket. So you'll see the graded. This first bell word question was a series of just multiple choice questions. So once submitted, it is automatically graded. Then the group activity was a gallery walk. This is just marked as completed because this was a short response. So the student answered it here and is waiting for the teacher to grade it. And then last, we still have one last activity to do, which is our exit ticket. So that's what we're looking at here. You can open up BaxterBot at any point and you can ask him anything. So since BaxterBot is built into the system, he knows the lesson, he knows the context, so he can tell you what the lesson is about today. You'll notice he's answering in both English and Spanish. If I go into this last activity that I still have left to do, one of the students' accommodations, which we can see when we open up the accommodations toolbox. So there's a preview of vocabulary and key points, which we saw on the first page, as well as on this page here. And then visual cues, which is going to help with highlighting instruments, and then dictionaries and thesauruses. All 3 of these with that little light bulb, it's being automatically tracked, whereas preferential seating, because it's something that is difficult to automatically track, it can be tracked. I'll show you that on the back end, on the teacher side. So here we have it. If the student is unsure about words, if you double click on it, you can see I have the tool, so I can bold it, I can highlight it, I can define the word if I'm not sure what figurative language means. And then I can also ask BaxterBot. Again, he's explaining in both English and Spanish to ensure comprehension for an English language learner. And then one of the biggest things that we've seen teachers excited with BaxterBot is some of those smaller questions, like what does at least mean, right? What does that mean? At least one example, does that mean more than one example? Or does it mean I can include one example? So I can always ask. So then it can clarify, saving the teacher some of those smaller questions. And then the teacher can always review this chat log at the end so they know what kind of questions their students are asking. So here we have the response, and they have an open response here. And then I'll give it an example so we can see what that looks like to respond to it. Now, I did copy and paste from another source, and that will alert on the back end as well, which is really helpful for the teacher. So once I submit that, we'll look and see what it looks like on the teacher end and how the teacher can use AI to support this. So now I'm logging in as the teacher. There's a lot in here. I'm not going to go too much into, but you can see from this first page, Professor Bruce is right there, just like BaxterBot is always at the student's fingertips. You have Professor Bruce there that can help you with any task, writing emails, sending newsletter updates, coming up with brain break ideas, anything you might need a little bit of support with. He can help in the chatbot. And then he also helps with reviewing information. So if we go to look at the lesson that we were just doing, here are the 3 activities: the bell work, the direct instruction, the whole group gallery walk, and then the exit ticket. You can see that already we have an average score and score distribution, and then how the students did, generated by Professor Bruce's AI. So it's looking at all of those questions. This first activity was 3 multiple choice questions. So it's telling me right off the bat, what things do I need to reinforce, or what do I need to look at, with some recommendations of how to do that. You, of course, can look specifically at those questions. This is the question that seemed to trip students up. And then if you want to look at the specific students, you have that option as well, and you can see how each student did. So we just submitted our exit ticket. Right here, we have our average score and score distribution. It's already started to analyze results. So maybe it started to analyze it, but then once I got a few more responses, I want to regenerate it, or I don't like the recommended ideas, so I want to regenerate it in that way. With the click of a button, it will regenerate, and that AI will look again at those trends and come up with some new recommendations to help you. So here I've got that. My question. So this is the question that we just answered. Here is an example of the responses. So the ones with the green check marks are ones that I have already graded. The ones without that are ones I do need to grade. So Olivia is who just submitted it. You'll notice it does give a flag. It's flagging that there's been copying and pasting. And here, Professor Bruce has already generated your first draft of feedback. So in seconds, you already have a first draft. If you like it as is, you can go ahead and just give it a score and submit it. If you don't like it, it's completely editable. You can start from scratch. You can have him regenerate his thoughts, his first draft completely, if you'd rather that. Or you can also, if there's a specific phrase that you like to include in your feedback, or some verbiage, that you can always just, remove a section and type in however you want. There's even this microphone. You can speech to text in here. It helps, speed up. I know teachers that have gotten carpal tunnel, or it's just easier sometimes to say it out loud and takes a little less time than typing. So you have that option. Math teachers have the option for mathematical symbols, and then you can put in pictures. So if you want to, put almost like a sticker on a piece of paper, a little great job, or if there's something in particular that you're looking at, you can input a picture here, and then typical bold, italics, underline, all of those options as well. So then you can submit that, and then again, Professor Bruce is here to help you. So I've gone ahead and graded all my assignments. I want to tell my class that all the assignments have been graded. The students will get a notification within the platform, but if you want to post it on a class page, or if you want to send out an email, you can always have Professor Bruce help with that. So I'm asking him to draft a post to let parents and students know that this assignment's been graded, and to remind them on field day. One of the great things about Professor Bruce is he knows that you're a teacher, he knows all that additional context, but I did prompt him a little bit at the end to keep the tone upbeat and excited. So there is less prompting that is needed with a platform built for teachers like Scholar. But if you want it tailored more to you, meaning you have to do less work taking this and making it fully what you want, that little bit of prompting is a big help. Sometimes it can go too formal in an email, and maybe that's not the tone that you like to use with your students. And so the teachers, when this, and so that's the last thing that I said I would show you is you also have these accommodations. So they are automatically attract with BaxterBot and PAWfessor Bruce. You'll notice for this lesson, all of these are checked off because Olivia used all of them. It's not automatically checking preferential seating, so I can just go ahead and check it and save those accommodations. And I'm all ready for that next IEP meeting. I'm going to go back to our there we go. And so our next session is going to be hosted by Nicole. She'll talk all about how to create a lesson in minutes using AI templates, and whether that's specific to Scholar or general AI, she'll go over both to give you a little help with that. And don't forget, attending these sessions does earn you professional development. If you complete all 10 of the sessions we're doing, you'll receive a certificate for 5 hours of professional development. If you want to keep exploring more about AI and Scholar education, you can follow us on social media. You can try our free AI champion course. Check out our YouTube platform for demos and other tutorials, and then sign up for our priority list to be the first to hear about features, the next stage of the pilot, any free PD we do like this summer series. And then we'll end off with a picture of the cutest Bernedoodles in the game, Baxter and Bruce. And we hope to see everyone next week. Thank you.